Hello everyone, welcome to this week's auction video that is actually being uploaded a day later because I just got back from a very long vacation. It is currently Friday and I literally just got in the door about an hour ago, not even. But I wanted to get a video out this week, though it's going to have to be a day late, which means that these auctions are actually running from Saturday, August 10th through Monday this time. I am incredibly tired. I'm still showing off a decent amount, but I'm gonna rattle through these a lot quicker than normal because I wanna go to bed. But that doesn't mean that the quality will be bad, I promise. Starting off with this black pewter het clown female, basically including her because she's a proven breeder, and black pastel is a really cool, and it works well with a lot of different things. It darkens the animal, and when you can immediately get a proven breeder that's ready to go, it looks like it's a first time mama with 5 eggs, and that's pretty good. First time mamas are always kind of inconsistent, but she laid a good clutch. Good with confidence if you want to get in and start with an animal that is probably going to be a lot cheaper than you would normally pay for something like this. Moving along, this one does have a reserve price before we get started, but this is a pastel hypo and it is ready to breed. So another one that's just kind of pretty much ready to go. She's showing at 1,300 grams, but usually you can get them to size by the time the season that you normally breed in the fall starts. This would be a really cool one to someone who again is just kind of getting started and has had ball pythons for a while but wants to start breeding and kind of jump ahead. You know how to take care of a baby, so you know how to take care of these. You get everything set up and suddenly now you have animals that can be ready to go for you right away. Another one with that reserve price, we don't know what that'll end at, but an opportunity here for the right person that's just kind of getting into it and maybe getting their feet wet and wants to have just a little bit of fun with this but still make some kind of cool animals. And again, I think this might be the last proven breeder. No, we're starting off with a lot of proven breeders today, and this is not going to be the last one. This one here is a double het clown pied, so nothing crazy altogether, but having the hets in the female means that you can spend the money on the male and kind of create an army of these animals, maybe with some extra genes in it. Clown pieds, especially males, you can get them out here on the auction. Quite frankly, there's some right now. I just haven't highlighted them this week, but you can find them and they are going to go during the time period of this. We kind of buzz through them here at the beginning or the end of the video, depending on where my brother puts it. You'll see the clown pied I'm talking about, if not more of them, quite frankly, because I'm tired and I probably missed it. But you can breed these and immediately start making clown pieds with a lot of cool different genes in there, and it's proven. So you see here, it's produced 35 eggs for him over 5 years. The average of 7 eggs. She's laid almost every year for him. 5 out of the 6 years that this person has had them, and produced no slugs ever, which is a real big plus right there. So you can get a really solid proven breeder right off the bat and make some cool stuff right away. Alrighty, moving along to another clown pied from the same breeder. So I always like showing this off because these are pretty cheap, honestly. I mean, like, look at that, those prices and no bids. Why not just buy both? And the shipping, I'm sure it would be able to get a deal. I don't know if it'd exactly be at 100 and combine it, but I'm sure you could combine them both, and it could be about 100, and you'd be getting a crazy good deal. And you could start with a little bit of a clown pied army here, right? Nothing wrong with that, and something for the prospective new breeder who's starting to learn that just, again, you can be new and still make cool stuff, especially these days, and especially with the advent of Morphmarket Auctions, because people use these to move on from their animals because they need the room for absolutely nutty crazy things, and you, the beneficiary of something that should go for more, quite frankly. And yes, it is just a simple double het, but the fact that it's proven and proven so well is really crazy. This one here looks like it's only ever laid 1 slug, and it's the first year it ever laid, so that's kind of forgivable, I would say. Honestly, 1 slug a year is not that big of a deal anyway. You get the 2 of them there and you can kind of have a little bit of a project going immediately next year. Here's our first non-proven breeder, but this is a crazy good deal for the right person. It's a sunset female that is just a little under halfway to breeding size, is what I'd say. With a proper amount of luck, maybe next year, but I don't know about that. But either way, if you want to do off year or however you want to do it, it's got some good size to it. Now, this is what happens to sunset sometimes, and this is why the only thing that I ever hear people try to knock on it, but that's okay. And the point of the matter here is that if you love the sunset gene and love how it looks, then there's ways to do that. You get this female here and then you can get a male. And honestly, if you get this female for these kinds of prices here, this is a really good deal right now. This is a really good deal for the size that this thing has on it. You could get a male, and heck, you could, if you really want, save the money and get the het. And I'd say just go for the male, but if you want to, you could do something a little more unconventional and get the non-visual version, but pack him with jeans. So get a het, 100% het, and pack him with jeans. If you really want to be ballsy, you could get a possible het and pack them with jeans, but you're going to be sending some tests in, no doubt. But you know, the problem there is if you don't hit on it, you've just wasted that. So I would just get at minimum the het and pack it with jeans and breed it to this, and voila, you're producing sunsets that aren't just normal, just sunsets. You're producing sunsets with some extra jeans in there that help combat this kind of washed out look that they can get when they get a little older. They're very vibrant and amazing. Look, you see here's a male. This has a reserve price though, but if you could snag both of these, that would be really cool. And then once again, talking about tests, send this in for a test, because one of them that helps out a lot, this brownout, is Hypo. So sunset hypos are solid. They're very cool. I love the hypo gene. I used to not be, I wouldn't say I wasn't a believer, but I just kind of thought like, oh, it's an older gene. It kind of makes it look shedded out. It's kind of neat. I used to call it ghost. That's just what the name of it used to kind of be. And what I would say, honestly, when I started, it was, to me, the more popular thing to call it. But with the advent of desert ghost, that has kind of gone to the side, I would say. This is a solid one. And if that reserve price can be met, and if it's even close to this ballpark, you'd be very silly to pass up on this, especially if you end up winning this one. Not that you can get the hypo obviously in that, but you're going to want to start working some hypo sunsets eventually if this boy does prove out. So very cool opportunity. Here's another one, proven breeder, right? There's a lot of proven breeders, kind of a theme to this so far. And it's just an asphalt. And the reason I included it is because, again, for the right person who just wants to have fun and create some cool looking animals, you want to get yourself what I would say an ivory male. If you just want to create something cool, like what they're called as freeways, when you combine the asphalt and the Yellowbelly, ivory is a double Yellowbelly, by the way, you get a freeway. Freeways look like this. Well, this is a pastel freeway here, but you can see just one gene, what the difference here. There's your gene by itself, and there's it with pastel. In some cases, they're wild. They're so cool, and that's all you would need. And the ivory would always pass the Yellowbelly on. The asphalt from the female would pass on 50% of the time. So 50% of the time, you would be getting freeways. Asphalt, once you can identify it, is 100% proven in the gene. So this looks like it's probably one of the babies that this animal has given birth to, the egg and then hatched. This looks like one of the babies, probably one of her babies, I'd say. But these sell. If that's all you want to do is just kind of sell, or you want to create cool things, I suggest eventually working this into some cool things. Freeway clowns are amazing, and not enough people work them in my opinion, but that's something I would eventually do. But if you just want to create freeways, these sell like crazy, like hotcakes. Just about as good as Leucistics, the blue-eyed Lucy's, an all-white snake with blue eyes. So if that's kind of just something you want to do, is just create cool snakes, learn, this is another one that could do that for you. And again, I just realized that like it's heavy loaded with proven breeders. So this is for the new breeder, obviously. So far, most of these, other than that sunset kind of, but here you are with another black pastel het pied. The reason I wanted to include this is black pastel is an amazing gene, even when it's with pied. But if you did want to work the panda pied, this is an important ingredient. Disclaimer, panda pieds are known to have a slightly more likely chance that they result in a snake with a kink. And a kink, if you do not know, is a deviation in the spine, which means they will have sometimes a minor thing where they're just kind of a little bit stuck one way or the other, and sometimes a major thing where they're so stuck that they're at a right angle and they can no longer digest food. And now it is on you to call the animal, and call is a kind word for euthanize. So that is, however, I feel a little more overblown than it is. I do think that it is still a very high chance that you are not going to get a kink snake with a panda pied, but it does happen more often. That is a fact. Some people have different viewpoints on that, but panda pieds are awesome. It is the most black and white snake, really, that's simple. Well, this is not a simple combo, but it's the most simple that I feel is out there for a pitch black and white snake. However, I have personally swayed more towards the Suma pied myself in later years, but this is a good way to do that. And quite frankly, who's to say you got to do the panda pied with this, right? You know, there's other options you can do. And by the way, if I haven't explained it yet, like again, I'll explain again, I'm very tired, but the panda pied, there's 2 copies of black pastel, the super black pastel and pied. So to create that, you would need to get a black pastel pied or a het pied and go head to head, which I don't recommend. If you're going to do that combo, just go all in and get the panda pied maker right away, so you don't have to worry about possible hits. But I just wanted to have that disclaimer just to make sure that you knew. Looks like it's already been paired to a BlackHead Ultra Mel. So if she were to somehow lay and you were like, what are these? The BlackHead and the Black Pastel, they would immediately be all 100% hit Ultra Mel, and they'd be 50% hit pied, and you'd have to get those tested. I guess you wouldn't have to, but in my opinion, you'd have to, because the Ultra Mel pieds would be cool. And if you could get the BlackHead, which is one of my favorite genes, with the Black Pastel, suddenly you're in a different world. So yeah, even if she doesn't go though, there's a lot of use for her, I think, especially at that price. Moving along to this GHI chocolate lace clown, and lace clowns are amazing. I love GHI and I love chocolate. This is just a world of amazing. I don't know what the second page is, maybe the clutch mates, must be. But lace is an incredible gene that is an enhancing gene. GHI brings in a lot of this granulation and darkness. It's where you're getting a lot of this shadowing from. And chocolate is a naturally like darkening gene that kind of creates this chocolatey melting look to it as well, which is why in general with the lace, it's a little bit of a different story. This has a lot of contrast because it's dark, 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 and then a very nice light head. This could create some cool animals. However, there is a reserve price and it might be pricey in the end. However, you can see there's interest, quite a bit of interest, and that is because it is worth every penny. So a bit away if you are into this, and if that is your ballpark. This is more on the high end in my opinion though. Moving along to this Stranger High Orange Dream Het Clown. Now, High Orange Dream is like they call it high intensity. It is a line of the Orange Dream. If you bred this to a regular Orange Dream, you'd get Super ODs. But it is a polygenic trait that is attached to the Orange Dream. Just like there's Barnhart Black Pastel, it is clearly different. So this one here just has a crazy amount of cool contrast here with that Het Clown being in a female. There's a lot of power and potential for this animal, but the price will not be cheap. Looks like there's only one bid, so there might not be a lot of competition, but you can see where it started. And I think when I originally clicked this, it did not have that bid. I can't remember though. Moving right along to an animal that is listed as a pet only animal, as I think it should be, but it is a cool pet. This is an Eyeless Coral Glow Black Pastel Pied, and if you don't know, Coral Glow is the same as Banana. They're just different lines as well that were worked at the same time. It is incredibly cool. I have seen an Eyeless snake. My friend Pete from Large Caliper Constrictors has a Eyeless snake, and he just brings it to the show as an educational tool. And you can see this is essentially what they look like. There's not like an eye hole. You can kind of see maybe where they should be, kind of right there, but it's a very smooth looking animal, and the pattern even goes right through it and where the eye stripes would normally be. It takes live, but sometimes takes frozen thaw. It does have a slight kink. That is probably the biggest reason why not to breed this animal. It's unnoticeable and less feeling for it. Yeah, I don't see anything. So you'd have to run your finger along the back of it just to kind of feel it. So it's an incredibly small one. So most kinks, honestly, I believe are that way. You wouldn't even know. So you know that's an honest person here telling you something like that, because this is a cool looking thing. You get this as a pet if you're just wanting to have something neat. This is cool. I had to call it out, and it's eating well. Look at that. It's eating well. Proof that these animals can live. They usually, especially the eyeless ones, in my opinion, take off just fine. All right, we're gonna take a quick break to go over the Hognoses this week. And well, here you are, as always. There's not a whole bunch of Hognoses. Ball pythons are obviously the biggest ones. So we're gonna go over a few of them here though. Starting off with the fact that there are a few Leucistics on here, and Leucistic is a newer one with Hognoses. I remember, I think it was 4 years ago, these were going for 10 grand. This one has no reserve. They're still going for a lot, but it is a recessive trait, unlike with ball pythons, which it is just really in the blue-eyed leucistic complex typically that you get this. But you know, there's other ways to make a white snake, just not with blue eyes and ball pythons. But this one, I think they're all black-eyed leucistics really, but it is an all-white snake. I guess you kind of get a little like lavender on the belly, I guess, but that doesn't really count to me. If anything, that's a kind of cool looking thing, almost like it ate a worm. Very cool animal here. Not for everybody, but if you want to work the Leucistic project, a great way to do it would be to just start with one. Moving right along here, I believe quite a few here from the same breeder, Frame Shift Reptiles, who I have purchased from and had a great experience. So bid with confidence. They're very good, very cool people. And they work ball pythons and hognoses. But this is a Axanthic Super Conda Het Snow. And this is one of the ones I normally don't like, Super Conda, but when done right, I do like it. quite a bit, and this is one that it is done right on, because I would like it in snow or with the Axanthic. I do like the Axanthic quite a bit in Hognoses, actually, because it's not the same, but it is a very cool looking animal in my opinion, and the snows are very, very cool. When just one copy of Conda, you get a bunch of little dots on it, kind of like an Anaconda is what it's named for, but a Super Conda strips all of that except for the head pattern, almost like it's just got like some crazy looking mask on, almost like a wing head with like a little tail, almost looks like a fish. But the Axanthic, while a little different from ball pythons, does pull in the silvers and kind of the whites and stuff like that, whereas the snow just makes it a little bit more whiter in my opinion, and also red eyes. So speaking of which, there you go, and that is a Super Conda snow, just like I was talking about, from the same breeder. Both females here, lots of interest in this one, and both of them, quite frankly, as they deserve. But now you can kind of see what those look like and why I like these. They kind of glow. It still has that cool little mask, but these cool, just glowing red eyes. Very, very amazing animals. And then one more from Frameshift is this extreme red albino Conda. I love albino, and I love the fact that in Hognoses there is polygenic traits, and extreme red is one of those. Extreme red is not attached to albino, by the way, but it is very, very closely aligned with it. It is usually with it because it creates these awesome colors. But extreme red is a polygenic trait, which means that it's always going to kind of pass on in some fashion, which is really cool. But I love albino and I love Conda by just one copy because of this is what it does. Like I said, it is so intense and cool. This one being a male here. And then again, I thought that was it. So I guess there's four. Another super snow super Anaconda. So you can kind of see those are related to kind of similar look to it. This one looks a little bit lighter, but that could just be the picture, maybe. That one actually looks a little more lavender, the first one. But you kind of have this almost all white snake, except for the cool little face pattern and these just cool, awesome glowing eyes. Great project to work. Just great project to work. This one's a male though, so if it better suits your needs to have a male, this would be a good one. And then finally, we started off with a Leucistic. Well, let's show you a Het Leucistic. This is a male, and the reason why I show this is because you saw the price on the other one. Apparently, there's only one bid. I doubt it's going to stay this way. There's no reserve on this though. Yeah, it's not going to stay that way because I just bid on it. And I won't win this at 10 bucks, but I'd like a placeholder on it. I do that often, honestly, just to see what things might go for. But this is a very good deal if you can start making Leucistics. And, you know, there's always the chance that you start making them yourself. This would be a good opportunity to do that. An amazing project right there. It's newer now, yes. I don't know what else you could do from there other than maybe add the albino to create kind of like a snow there, but all white. I don't know what you'd call that. Avalanche. You might already have a name for all I know. But this is a great opportunity. Come outbid me, because that's silly that this would go for that low, especially with no reserve. But there's plenty of time, 70 hours left. Back into the ball pythons here, and of course it wouldn't be a video of mine without showing off something from Chimera, who's on here every single week, and that would be this Leopard Confusion clown. Leopard and Confusion work together so incredibly well. I wish that you could see the belly of this one. I guarantee you it's amazing. But look at all this beautiful oranging and how black and dark black it is. It's like a crisp orange. The belly, I guarantee you, is nuts. It always is with Confusion. And this awesome little granulation just sneaking through. This is a cool animal. And a female at that, its interest is pretty high. It's going to go for a bit more. Maybe some people get a little shy or forget about it. You never know. If this is something you want to work, and I highly recommend it is, because Confusion clowns are outstanding together. Definitely worth it. Moving right along, back into Sunset. I actually meant to put this one forward, but I forgot. And this is the Banana Sunset here. Again, no reserve on this female here. I really like what this does. It's just the best of both worlds, and it keeps the snake a little bit lighter, which is what I said earlier. Supposedly the only knock against Sunset is that they can kind of dull out as they get a little older, but this is a really cool animal. I love the Banana Sunsets. This kind of makes me think, you know, and kind of want to get into this sort of stuff, but I don't think it'll go incredibly cheap. But you know, this is more of your investment thing. However, I believe it'll go cheaper than what a Banana Sunset would at a show. So bid away if this is your thing. Do not sleep on this. This is a cool combo, and one that you could use as the bedrock for creating some sunsets for you if you want to get into the project. This is a great way to do it because it'll go cheaper than what it should, that's for sure. And then moving right along to one of my favorite genes, especially when it comes to pied, is Mahogany Yellowbelly Het Pied. And this is a female here. This is from Brock Wagner at that, almost to size. Incredible deal from a very trustable breeder. I recommend getting a Mahogany pied and putting it to that immediately to make Suma pieds, because I love Suma pieds and I actually love them more. That's the one I mentioned earlier when I was talking about the panda pieds. I love them more than those. those because there's a lot more contrast in there and a lot more clashing colors. It is very jet black when it's black, but then suddenly it's not. Suddenly it's a mahogany-ish brown, and these little orbs kind of crash together. I love them. I absolutely love the chaos and the contrast that it brings and those combos. But this girl here is an incredible deal. In fact, here's another one here that I gotta put a placeholder on, especially from Brock at that size. I would love to get into this project. Come outbid me, but also please don't. Moving right along to obviously one of my favorite jeans of all time, which would be the Monarch jean, something I work passionately and keep working on. GHI being in here, also being one of my favorites, but a Pastel GHI Het Monarch is all your jeans here. Sometimes I like when they start like this because it's being honest and it's saying, hey, I'm not going to charge a reserve. I'm just going to show you right away what the reserve would be. That's how I kind of view it. It might make people a little gun shy right off the bat and they won't want to bid on it right away, but this male here is a powerhouse. Yes, I like my males to be visuals. However, if this is a Pastel GHI Monarch, we aren't talking $500 anymore. So this is for someone who wants to get into this and does it cheaper. Also, keep in mind the females and the males for Monarchs right now, I noticed they're roughly the same at the moment in price. That'll probably change at some point, but you can get the female for about the same price. Maybe you get her on here, honestly. There are a few other Monarchs this week as well. Both a male here, a Mojave Orange Dream Pastel Monarch. I believe these just went up as I started, and a Pastel Clown Het Monarch. Also with some hefty starting prices. Again, I don't know how likely these might go or not because somebody might just not be in the market at the moment, but these are probably what the reserve price would be for them, the lowest that they would accept. This one has my attention just because I'm going to be working the Clown Monarchs. However, I'm creating my own right now, but it's still a very cool deal. But the GHI for me, I would love to see and get GHI into my Monarch, and that is a future plan of mine. However, I have a billion plans, so you know how that works out. It'll be a little bit, I'm sure, but I would love to see the GHI and the Monarch. Back into Chimera with this Clown Hypo 100% Het Pied, and we're doing this kind of as a pair deal because guess what? That's a male, and the price is only 40 bucks right now with a few days. I think this one goes on Monday, but they also have a Hypo Clown 100% Het Clown female. Buy these two together and breed them together. You're always going to get hypos, and you are at the very least going to get a double Het Pied Clown as well. And when you don't get the double Het Pied Clown, it's because you hit on them. So you could very easily create the triple Het here. I mean, when you don't create the triple Het, well, you're guaranteed to get hypos all the time again that are Het for Clown. So did I say you're guaranteed to create triple Het? I meant guaranteed to create the triple recessive, the all visual version. The hets are always going to be guaranteed if you don't. So very cool little project here. And right now, if the price stays even close to this hemisphere, you'd be nuts not to jump into this if this is kind of your fancy, because you're not going to get any cheaper than this. Moving right along to this BlackHead Mojave Pied. I already mentioned I love the BlackHead gene. Look what that does. Mojave's a weird gene in my opinion. Sometimes I feel like it can swing both ways, but in general, I think it kind of lightens it up. But you kind of see what it does to the head here. This is a really dark and cool looking head. I mean, that's from the BlackHead naturally, obviously, but BlackHead Pied is really awesome. You can work this male into a lot of cool things, and I would get him for the BlackHead, quite frankly. Mojave, in my opinion, takes away some of the pattern, but it is what it is. It's still cool. It kind of makes it a more white snake. The BlackHead is where it's valuable for me, and I think this price will stay pretty inexpensive. Also from a wonderful breeder. I bought from Petrogenetics before, and they're just an incredible breeder and an incredible team of people. So bid with confidence. They're very cool, and BlackHead anything is awesome. And we're gonna finish it up here with, again, one that I already mentioned before, the Suma 100% Het Pied. You can create some amazing, awesome animals out of this. It's always gonna pass one copy Mahogany on. You definitely wanna breed a visual pied to this so that you can always guarantee that you're at the very least getting Het Pieds, and 50% of the time hitting the actual pieds. You're always guaranteed to get Mahogany, you know, so as long as you're getting the Het Pied out of that, and like I said, while you're at it, have your male kind of packed with some other genes in there, because this is a cool opportunity to create some awesome animals. The Suma Pied is probably my favorite of the black and white quote-unquote snakes, because it's not just black and white. It's got a lot of contrast to it. Since I'm talking about them so much, I might as well show it. You can kind of see some of the consistency here. Sometimes you do get a black and white snake, and quite frankly, the black is more potent, I think, on the Suma Pieds. You know, on the Panda Pieds, it's mostly an all white snake. Here's one right here. You can kind of see, like, you get this very jet black, but then look at this, like a sheen, almost like an iridescence, like kind of brown. So it's just so intensely cool looking. But then sometimes you'll get this sort of look. There's a lot of cool differences with the Suma Pieds, which is why I love them. They're a little unique, each one. Don't sleep on this animal. It is an incredible deal. Hope you enjoyed this week's videos. If you like this video, you can actually check out our video talking about recessive genetics in ball pythons right here.